Hey folks, JD here, and today we've got this look. This is the brand spanking new Arrma Typhon 6S BLX. I'm so excited to be looking at this. Right then, let's rip this off and see what we've got underneath the hood. So, to begin with, we've got our bag of instructions, and we've got our extra gearing, we've got our spare parts, as well as a couple of tools in there as well. We'll come on to that in a little bit. But look at this. This is a beautiful 1/8 scale buggy. Let's take out the transmitter. We'll have a look at that in a bit. Now then, let's just rip out this car and see what we've got. This is... This looks terrific. This really does. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to try. Normally not very successfully, but I'm going to give it a shot and see whether I can actually... Oh, that's not going to be good for the wheels or the axles. There we go. Oh, there's a nice bit of weight to this. 3.4 kilograms it weighs. And that is without the battery. So once you've got the batteries in there, it's going to be a little bit more weighty. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're not going to look at it from this angle. Let's change this camera angle and have a proper look at this. Right, so to begin with, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking at this truck in stages. It's a 1/8 scale truck. I want to spend particular attention in all aspects of this particular truck. So we're going to look at the front first, working our way towards the back, and then looking underneath the hood. Alright, so what do we have? Right at the front, you can see straight away we have these massive big bore oil fill suspension rods. One on the left, one on the right. Now these big rods, you can alter the hardness or the softness of these particular suspension rods just by twirling this black washer in the middle. You can turn it one way to soften it and turn it the other way to harden it. Be very careful when you do that though, because you don't want to be putting too much pressure on the rods underneath or on the suspension arms themselves. So when you jump it and when you hit the floor, you don't want the rod snapping or anything bending. In the middle of both the rods you have this nice little plastic bit. That's an extension to the body just to finish it off. You have these nice little bolts around the outside which are nice and easy, clear to see. They're all Allen keys. You have the Arrma logo at the front on this little bull bar-esque affair on the front there, which is made of thick plastic, and behind it you have a red aluminium cover just to ensure that it has extra strength just in case you hit anything. One thing that is very apparent about this is that all the rods, the ball joints, everything to do in the front here are very, very well made. The materials are very thick. The plastic rods are extremely sturdy, but at the same time look as if they're going to give us just the right amount of flex when we need it. Now looking at these front tyres, they are huge. Absolutely colossal. They are foam filled, which will give us just the right amount of padding. We have nice tread on them, which will give us just the right amount of grip on the tarmac as well as off-road. Don't forget, this truck is a 4-wheel drive all-terrain vehicle, off-road and on-road as well. So we need grip to be on tarmac, on gravel, on grass, and especially in the wet as well. Now this truck is 100% waterproof, so you are going to have no problem whatsoever in taking her out. Now if we generally just make our way up the car itself onto the body, you will see that we have this nice little pull rod to the front just to take the clip off it. We also have 2 clips at the back as well in exactly the same vein. Now just by pulling these clips off, you will notice that they are attached to the body as well. There is a clip retainer just on the front here which is attached. Very, very simple, but very, very nice to actually have that. On the underside of the body it says "Don't just bash, blast," which is Arrma's little slogan. And also at the back of the body we have these nice fins. Now these fins are here just to draw the heat off the battery, off the motor, off the ECU, and just directly out of the back there. I'm loving this attention to detail. Look at this beautiful Arrma fin as well on the back. Just looks so deadly. Looks a little bit Scorpion-esque, a little bit Shark-esque, quite industrial. It just looks phenomenal. It really does. And the feeling of it, because you've got this matte paint on it, it feels extra special. I'll be honest with you, it really does. There's that slogan again just on the inside. It feels really thick, but obviously as you can see, it gives us quite a nice little bit of flex there as well. Now if we have a little look on the inside of the truck, we will see straight away that it is laid out very, very well. All space is used quite nicely. Right at the front, let's start off, we have this huge Arrma plate at the front with the Arrma logo, which has been nicely machined in. You've also, this particular plate holds onto the main structure of the truck, as well as holds the front wheels onto the body. It does so much, so it has to be quite nice and thick, and it is really quite thick by the look of it. If we work our way towards the back, towards the back of this particular plate, over to the left hand side, we have the steering servo, which is the orange with the black clip on it. That's a 15 kilogram waterproof steering servo, so you shouldn't have any problem there with turning quite tight corners. Coming off the steering servo, we have the ESC. This is a 185 BLX. We have a fan to the top of it as well as this nice Arrma cutout to the top. We have our 3 cables coming off it and directly into this massive BLX brushless motor just here as well. Now that particular motor should stay nice and cool. It's an absolutely huge tin can, should give us more than enough power. This particular truck is rated for up to 50 miles an hour with the standard gearing, off-road only at 50, and then if you use speed gearing, then you can get 70 miles an hour out of it just by changing that particular pinion gear. But be warned, that 70 miles an hour is on-road, smooth tarmac only. Do not use it off-road. It is not rated for that. Directly right at the front here on the right hand side, we have our receiver box with our little antenna coming off it. Really quite sweet. I like how there is a little hole at the front of the body just for this to fit on. Then we have our battery connectors and our battery bay. So these particular battery connectors here on the front, if you are like me and you want to run your Dean's T, then you will have to buy some extra connectors. So I've just got some IEX connectors there to Dean's T. They should fit in without there being any issue, and yeah, there we are, perfect. And then once those connect in there we are. Sorry, the IC5, not ICE, IC5 connectors. Now on the other connector you have a little blanking plate. You can take that off. These particular batteries that run in here, Arrma does recommend that you use a minimum of 5,000 milliamp hour batteries only. Now, you can have them in the current configurations. 2x3S gives you the 6S, or you can have 2x2S, which gives you 4S. So that in itself, obviously the 4S isn't going to give you top speed. It's going to just be a nice little trundling along car. But then as soon as you put the 6S in, you're going to unlock that power and really take it for a spin. Now with these new connectors on, we have the Dean's T connector there. Underneath these the cables, you have the big battery bay where the batteries fit. The batteries fit on top of each other, one at the bottom, one at the top. There's a lot of strapping, a lot of Velcro there, so you shouldn't have any problem whatsoever in fitting that on. Now, as we work our way to the back of the truck, you will notice that there's a lot of gearing here. There is a lot of plastic and metalwork as well. Now these particular ball joints are apparently anti-snap, so they won't just come out of the plastic housing. You've got 3 differentials in here. They're not locking diffs because this isn't a crawler, it's a speed machine for on-road and off-road use, so therefore these diffs will not lock. Now you can see one of the diffs at the back here. The gearing inside them are metal gears. You've got your main struts coming directly off the back, left and right, exactly the same, into these ball joints which hold the wheels onto the body, and that looks really quite solid. And then more towards the back, you have this great big aluminium plate, which the back suspension, again oil-filled big bore, is attached. Now on the back there, you can once again alter the hardness or softness of the particular suspension just by twirling, loosening or tightening this particular washer, the black washer on the front there. And then we also have this absolutely colossal spoiler at the back there, just to give you enough downforce there so that the car isn't sliding and slipping all over the place at top speed. So this is the truck with the body off. So as you can see, I've got my little connectors there which give me my Dean's T at the end. I got them on both just like that, so they just fit out of the way. I had to buy them separately, they do not come with the truck. So here we got the front, we got the suspension rack with the aluminium plate. Working our way back, we have the mid-motor truck All the gubbins in the centre here with the speed controller, the waterproof steering servo, the receiver. You've also got your battery bay this side, your brushless motor at the back here. Then working our way directly to the back, you have these great big chunky wheels, the same tread as the front. You have all the plastic work and all the ball joints, as well as the steering, as well as the diff at the back there as well. All makes up for a fantastic truck. If we look on the underside of it, this huge aluminium plate at the side here gives it protection. You can see we've got our spur gear just showing up there as well in the middle. All in all, this thing is an absolute beast. I cannot wait to be taking this thing out and giving it a good old bashing. Look at this. Even the plastic down the side here is made of very good quality. It's very thick. That's something. Look at that. I can bend the front of it, but I've got to put a lot of pressure behind it. Very, very rigid. Look at all these little screws in the top here as well. There's a lot of attention to detail has been taken with this truck. Even if we are to look at these ball joints on the wheels here, look at that. Absolutely machined perfectly. The ball joint fits in very snugly. You've got nice little bit of play with these particular joints around the side as well. All should give us a really, really nice run. Let's just flip that back over actually at the back so you can see the back of it. The back is just as impressive. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful. You've got your big bore suspension either side. You've got your huge spoiler at the back there. You've got your massive aluminium plate here with your big bore suspension either held on either side. All in all, this thing is absolutely incredible. There we are. There's the other side of it. If you wanted to see the motor in a bit more detail, that's the brushless motor there. Huge can. Look at the size of it. Absolutely massive. Let's see what the size of that is, because it's huge. 73.6 millimeters on that. Absolutely colossal. It's a very, very large truck. Weight wise, without the batteries, as I mentioned in the start, comes in at 3.4 kilograms without battery, so you're probably looking more like 3.5, 3.6 with the batteries in here as well. All in all, look at that though. It's just beautiful. Really, really, really well made. You've got your on and off button here next to the ESC. Again, covered in a waterproof housing, little bit of rubber there, just because the rest of this truck is waterproof. They want you to really bash it. They want you to really go for it. And the thing that I love the most, though, about this, most certainly has to be, if we look just in there, I don't know how well you're going to see this, but all the gearing, the spur and the pinion are open. So you haven't got to take off any huge bits of plastic to get to it. It's all inside there already. There we are, just there. All inside there, already open. You've just got to take off this bit here, which covers another diff in the middle. So you've got diff at the back, diff in the middle, diff in the front. That gives you an absolutely fantastic, should give you a great ride height, and should actually give you a great bit of power behind this as well. As for ride height, we have got quite a bit of height there on it. So let's just again use my micrometer on the front there. 28.3 millimeters off the bottom, and once you push it down as well, as you can see, look at that. It goes from being all the way up to all the way down. You don't even have 2 millimeters of gap when the suspension is depressed all the way. Alright then friends, next thing to do, let's have a quick little look at this teaser, and then we'll have the full road test tomorrow. Right then, here's what we've got inside. I've got both of my batteries in here, Overlander. These are 4,000 milliamp hours each, 32C discharge rate, and this is what they recommend. They recommend no less, as a minimum recommendation of a battery, no less than 5,000 milliamp hour and 32C discharge. Now this is 50C discharge on 4,000 milliamp hours each. So as you can see, I've got two 3S's in there making 6S. That gives me a total of 8,000 milliamp hour. Now I took it to be that it's 5,000 milliamp hour each, in which case I've got more than enough power for today. As you can see, because I've had to buy these extra cables, it gives you a nice little clip here on the battery Velcro. So what I've done is I've just clipped in my cables there to keep them away from this motor in case it gets quite warm. So with that, we should now be good to go. What I have noticed is when you then try to put the cover on it, it sometimes is a little bit awkward when you've got all this battery and all this cable in here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn on the transmitter and then turn on the car.
for this little teaser test. Now the transmitter I haven't looked at with you folks before. You've got throttle normal and reverse, steering normal and reverse, you've got throttle trim, steering trim, you've got throttle rate and steering rate as well. So I'm going to put everything in the middle to begin with and see exactly how that goes. You've also got throttle limitation, 50, 75 or 100% throttle. So that's what you have in the front there. You also have your steering wheel. This runs on Spectrum. Oh, it's worth you making sure that everything's working fine beforehand. There's the on and off button under there. Turn it on, 2 red LEDs. Turn on the car then. And now, oh, look at that proportional steering. Beautiful, look at that. Really, really nice. Okay, I'm eager to get this out. So what I'm going to do is just put these clips back on. Great idea with the bungees, mind. With these clips, I have lost so many of them, and I end up buying them almost on a 2 monthly basis. As I end up buying more clips for this. Right, you can hear those metal gears, very loud to begin with. Let's run her in a little bit. Let's give her a couple of minutes, just running her in, see exactly how she's going to go. No problem off-road. Oh, she slips and slides beautifully well. Look at that. If you go slow, then you can get, just with a very minimal amount of throttle, then you get a very minimal amount of speed, as you'd expect. But then, oh wow, this thing sounds like an absolute demon. Yes, I'm really looking forward to this. Oh, you beautiful, beautiful thing.